Warm blessings, planetary warriors, and welcome to my channel. This is Master Shaman Palai Chi. Long story short, the time that I met Jesus was right around the time when I was going through some anxiety with my mom asking me to do certain tasks around the house, giving me more responsibilities as a daughter. I'm one of the oldest in my family, and so I was expected to do all kinds of adultly tasks. For example, make the rice or steam the rice, cook some dinner, clean around the house, do some chores. In the midst of doing all that, I was actually having anxiety about growing up. Though I wanted to grow up and help my parents, I had that deep inside of me. It made me question really what life was really about. On this one day, I got kind of angry or saddened as well after my mom lectured me on doing a certain task for her that I didn't do it correctly. And so after that, I went into my parents' room. There was like a small crib in that room, and that was actually my younger sibling's crib. I was gonna go into that crib and just take a nap in there so that they couldn't find me later on. So I was kind of angry. I was like, okay, I'm gonna disappear. So I put myself into that crib and went to sleep. So this man, I had no idea who he was, but he was basically clothed in some like very light material, it felt like, or it looked like, but it was also a very beige, just very cotton or beige material. It had a young look. It was like a more of a sandy look to his beard color. So I remember the details of his beard, his face, his hair, and it was almost shoulder length, more so like right here, neck length. He also had a stick or something with him in one hand, in his right hand. And I can remember that he approached me as I went into this deep, vivid dream. It opened up as though he was holding or taking my hand with him. And during this time, I was thinking to myself, who is this man? But then I was not even afraid of him in the dream. I was actually more curious of where we were going. So then it opened up as though like a dark wave or cloud opened up. Ahead of me, I actually saw a path, and in this path was like a dirt road. And he was actually walking with me, not holding my hand anymore, but he like opened up his palms like this, saying, "Let's go." So I started to walk in this path with him. And what I saw on the right, he pointed or waved his hand to the right side of the path. And in the right side of the path was actually a big, gigantic hole. And the hole was actually in a very rectangular shape. As I looked at the hole, I got freaked out because there was a bunch of skeleton, and then some of them were very skeletal, but they had like a light, like dried skin on them. They were there for quite some time, disintegrating, and these were bodies on top of each other. And I saw faces, skeletal faces, where the faces still kind of, and the body still had hair on the head. I saw the eyes, and some of them were open, some of them were closed. And so it was very detailed in me seeing this whole pit of skeletons or corpse that was laying on top of each other. When he pointed to that whole pit over there on the right side of me, he pointed to that pit and said, "Those who are not forgiving, those who want to disintegrate with the earth will be." And so he said this to me, and I didn't really know full English at that time, but I remember this, and I got it channeled back to me as well as I went and remembered this dream, this very vivid dream. And so as I'm talking right now, he's actually also here with me, Jesus, and talking through and channeling through me. So I can never know exactly what I'm going to say when I talk about Jesus or my other spirit guides. He had said that this to me. And so I was awed, and I was like, wow, I was just like kind of in it and kind of thinking to myself, this is what happens to people basically that don't have a good intention in life. And he's saying that people who steal, murder, and has affairs will end up into this pit. Um, and not just that they do bad deeds, but these are really hardcore bad deeds. And so these are the type of people or bodies that ends up in this specific pit. So we walked, kind of walking along and past this pit of corpses that are just kind of rotting away. And I remember the dirt, and on that day it was very sunny, but on that side of the pit was very cloudy and was gray. It almost felt like it was going to rain, but it didn't. He was allowing me to walk before him, so he was right in back of me on my right side, and I was actually walking in front of him, but he was kind of leading me the whole time. And then he's saying, oh, look at over here. And we looked at the left side. And as I looked at the left side, I saw a field of tulips. And this field of tulips was like multicolors, but the color I remember the most was red and white. And I remember the very green, bright green stems. As he waved, he said to me, look over here. This is the side that you want to be on. And he said, in this left side, see the flowers and the field that you are in right now. This is where you want to be, and this is where you want to stay. This is where you end up going if you do good deeds, and your good deeds will be counted. And then all of a sudden, I saw people playing in that field, and they were people that was very lively, families. There was like parents and then children playing around the field of this white and red tulip field. And I remember that green, and it was just so vivid. And I closed my eyes at that time, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be in that field. As we were walking past that field, and then so we walked past the pit, and then we walked past the field of flowers, and we were walking through the path of trees. And Jesus brought me to a stop at sort of like the middle, closer to the end. And he walked in front of me at this point in time. And he said, go back. You will go back now, and you will be the person that you are meant to be. You will listen to your parents, and you will allow them to teach you. And so I started walking back after we went to this middle part of where the two rows of trees in this path. I started walking back on my own, and I turned back and I looked at him, and he was actually walking away from me. And I walked back, and I woke up abruptly but solemnly. I learned so many things in just that short period of time. My mom, and she came and nudged me, and she was like, are you awake? And I was like, I'm awake now. And I was kind of like stunned, but also I was crying. And even thinking about it now, it makes me want to just tear up as I visited the place that he took me and walked with me in that dream, or I walked with him. That it gave me a sense of peace. At the same time, it gave me a sense of knowing what was ahead, knowing what life was. And I realized this as a 6-year-old, that there is a higher power that was being brought to me, that I was being led to see and to walk with Jesus for a reason, though I didn't know what that reason was at the time, but it brought so much peace inside of me that made me want to just cry. After having this realistic dream of Jesus, I realized that I was actually more at peace of me having that anxiety of growing up. I need to listen to, and I was just going to be okay with it, with my parents and teaching me certain tasks or chores to do and how to do them in a way where they know how to do it and how to do it well, so that I would just plainly listen in and just go with it. For the rest of my life, I didn't argue much. I just kind of went with it. I learned. I realized that through this vivid dream and walk with Jesus, that there is life, which is me as a child in this crib, symbolically, and then there is that, being born. So life is born, and then there is a point where you're walking through the path, and you're seeing, observing different experience in life, and then there's a point where you pass on. You either be in the pit or you pass on, transition and cross over, and be in a field of flowers. In a shamanic perspective, with this dream, that I realized is that my spirit of the soul actually was so saddened or angry at myself at that time, and that through this whole phenomena, my spirit of the soul was brought back to me. Instead of being lost, I actually was healed, and the spirit of my soul felt very at peace and very light when I woke up, though it was very sad to see all the things that I saw in the dream and of what I can remember, and just being in the presence of Jesus himself was very healing for me. I hope that this video has brought some kind of value to you today, to realize that no matter what religion that we are in, no matter what spirituality that we are brought to see, and the phenomena that we go through and experience in the observation of our minds, we get to heal, we get to release trauma, whether it's immediate or whether it's in a couple days or years, whatever that time frame is. We get to do that, but we also get to choose the free will to do it. And I hope that you guys would choose to release that trauma. And I was just blessed to have walked with Jesus at that time, to bring me to a state of mind at 6 years old, to just forgive.